You've been learning English for years. You know grammar. You understand textbooks. You can read, maybe even write well. But then something happens. You watch a movie, you hear two friends talking, or you listen to a real American conversation and suddenly everything feels different. They're speaking English, but it doesn't sound like the English you learned. They say things like, "That's lit. I'm broke. Let's hang out." And you pause, because no textbook prepared you for this moment. This is where real English lives, not in perfect sentences, but in natural, emotional, everyday speech. Today, you're not just learning English. You're stepping into how people actually speak. And by the end of this journey, you won't just understand native speakers. You'll sound like one. There's a quiet moment every English learner experiences. It doesn't happen in a classroom. It doesn't happen during exams. It happens in real life. Maybe you're watching a show and someone says, "Dude, that was awesome." You understand awesome, but what is dude? Why are they talking like that? Or someone says, "I'm gonna crash." And you think, crash? Like an accident? No. They mean sleep. This is the gap, the difference between learning English and living in English. Slang is not wrong English. It's not lazy English. It's real English. It's how people express emotions quickly. You've probably heard this 100 times. What's up? And the first time you learned it, you might have thought, what does that even mean? What is up? Is something above me? But here's the truth. When a native speaker says, "What's up?" they're not really asking a deep question. They're opening a door. It's a casual greeting, a soft invitation to connect. And the best part? The answer doesn't need to be complicated. You can say, "Not much." Nothing much. Just chilling. And the conversation flows. Now compare that to textbook English. "How are you doing today?" It's correct, but it feels a little formal, a little distant. "What's up?" Feels different. It feels relaxed. It feels friendly. It feels real. And here's something powerful. When you use phrases like this, you signal comfort. You show that you're not just learning English, you're living inside it. So today, try it. Instead of saying hello, say, "What's up?" And notice how the energy changes. Let's talk about a word that natives love. Chill. At first, it meant cold. But now, it means calm, relaxed, easygoing. If someone says, "Just chill," they're telling you, relax, don't stress. If someone says, "She's really chill," they mean, she's easy to be around. Now here's where it gets interesting. This word doesn't just describe situations, it describes people. And when you start using it, you start sounding more natural and more confident. Instead of saying, "I am feeling relaxed," you say, "I'm just chilling." Feel the difference? One sounds like a sentence from a book. The other sounds like a real moment. Slang often removes pressure. It simplifies expression. It gives your personality space to breathe. And when your English feels relaxed, people feel relaxed around you. That's the hidden power of slang. It's not just language, it's energy. Here's something fascinating about native speakers. They often make things sound smaller than they are. You help someone with something difficult, and they say, "Thanks." You reply, "No big deal." But wait, it was a big deal. It took time. It took effort. So why say that? Because in English culture, sometimes humility sounds like confidence. No big deal means, it was easy for me. It's okay. I didn't mind. It removes pressure. It keeps things light. Now imagine saying, "You're welcome." It required significant effort. It's correct, but heavy. No big deal feels smooth, natural, effortless. This is something slang teaches you. How to manage emotion in conversation. Not everything needs to sound serious. Sometimes sounding simple is what makes you sound strong. Now let's step into emotion. The phrase is, "Give me a break." If you translate it directly, it sounds confusing. But in real English, it has attitude. It means, stop. You're not serious. That's too much. Imagine someone says something unbelievable. You respond, "Oh, give me a break." It's not anger. It's not shouting. It's controlled frustration. And that's important. Slang helps you express feelings without long explanations. Instead of saying, "I find that difficult to believe," you say, "Give me a break." Short, powerful, real. But here's the key. Tone matters. Say it softly. It sounds playful. Say it sharply. It sounds annoyed. Same words, different feeling. This is where your English becomes advanced. Not when you learn more words, but when you learn how words feel. Now we arrive at something deeper. The phrase is, "You got this." This is more than slang. This is encouragement. When someone is nervous before a test, an interview, or a challenge, a native speaker might say, "You got this." It means, "I believe in you. You can do it. You're ready." But notice something. It's not long. It's not formal. It's simple. And that's why it's powerful. Because in real life, people don't give speeches when you're nervous. They give you small, strong words. Now imagine someone says to you, "I have confidence in your abilities." It's correct. But "you got this" feels different. It feels personal. It feels human. And now, here's your moment. Say it to yourself, out loud. You got this. Because learning English this way, step by step, feeling by feeling, you're not just improving, you're transforming. Let's talk about something subtle. Native speakers don't always speak in strong, clear statements. Sometimes, they soften everything. Instead of saying, "I am tired," they say, "I'm kinda tired." Kinda means kind of. Sorta means sort of. But why use them? Because real conversations are not always exact. They're emotional, flexible, human. "I'm kinda tired" feels more natural than "I am completely exhausted." It leaves space. It sounds honest. This is how people speak when they're thinking, when they're unsure, when they're just being real. And when you start using words like kinda, your English stops sounding perfect and starts sounding alive. Now here's a phrase that surprises many learners. "I'm down." At first, it sounds negative. Down, sad, low. But in slang, "I'm down" means, "I agree. I'm interested. I'm ready." Someone says, "Let's go get food." You reply, "I'm down." That means yes. Not just yes, a relaxed, confident yes. It shows you're open, you're easygoing. And that's something people notice. Because language isn't just communication, it's personality. When you say, "Yes, I would like to participate," it sounds formal. When you say, "I'm down," it sounds real. And real builds connection. Now let's talk about empathy. When something bad happens, native speakers don't always use formal sympathy. They say, "That sucks." It's simple, direct, emotional. If someone says, "I failed my test," you can respond, "That sucks." It means, "That's unfortunate. I feel bad for you." But it feels stronger, more human. This is important. Slang helps you connect emotionally, not just understand words, but understand people. And when people feel understood, your English becomes more than language. It becomes connection. Here's something that confuses many learners. Someone offers you something. Do you want coffee? You reply, I'm good. But wait, does that mean you're good at coffee? No. I'm good often means, no, thank you. It's polite, it's casual, it's natural. This is what makes slang tricky. The meaning is hidden. But once you understand it, you unlock real conversations. Because this is how people actually speak. Not always directly, not always clearly, but naturally. And that's what you're learning now. Pause for a moment. Think about where you started. Formal sentences, careful words, textbook thinking. And now? You understand things like, what's up? I'm down. That sucks. You got this. This is not small progress. This is transformation. You're starting to hear English differently, feel it differently, use it differently. And here's the truth. Fluency is not a moment. It's a shift. A quiet change where one day you stop translating in your head and you just speak. You're closer to that moment now. Closer than you think. Every phrase you've learned today is a step into a new version of yourself. Not a perfect speaker, a real speaker. Someone who connects, someone who expresses, someone who belongs in the conversation. So don't just read this. Use it, say it, try it, live it. Because English is not something you study forever. It's something you step into. And right now, you're stepping in. There comes a moment when you hear native speakers talking, and it feels like the words are melting together. I'm gonna go. I want to eat. I gotta leave. And you pause. Because you learned. I am going to go. I want to eat. I have got to leave. So what happened? Speed happened. Real life happened. Native speakers don't always speak in full, perfect forms. They shorten. They connect. They flow. Going to becomes gonna. Want to becomes wanna. Got to becomes gotta. This is not wrong. This is natural. And here's the key. You don't have to force it. You don't have to change everything overnight. But you should recognize it. Because understanding fast English is the first step to speaking it. And when you start saying, I'm going to try, instead of, I am going to attempt, you don't just sound faster, you sound real. Let's talk about reaction. When something unexpected happens, native speakers don't always explain their feelings. They react. And one of the strongest reactions is, no way. It means, I can't believe it. That's impossible. Really? But it's shorter, sharper, more emotional. Someone tells you, I met my favorite celebrity. You say, no way. Now here's something important. It can be positive or negative. Excited tone. It means surprise and joy. Serious tone? It means disbelief. Same words, different emotion. This is where your English becomes expressive. Because real conversations are not built on perfect sentences. They're built on reactions. And when you react naturally, people stop seeing you as a learner and start hearing you as a speaker. Life gets busy. People move. Time passes. And when you meet someone after a long time, you don't say, let us exchange all updates about our lives. You say, let's catch up. Catch up means to talk and share what's new. It's warm, it's friendly, it's human. Hey, we should catch up sometime. Let's catch up this weekend. It's not just about information. It's about reconnecting. And when you use phrases like this, you don't just speak English, you participate in relationships. Because language is not only for talking, it's for belonging. Here's something powerful. Native speakers don't hide mistakes with complicated words. They accept them simply. I messed up. That's it. It means, I made a mistake. I did something wrong. But it feels more real, more honest. more human. And here's why this matters for you. You will make mistakes in English. Everyone does. Even native speakers. But the goal is not perfection. The goal is confidence. When you can say, yeah, I messed up, without fear, you become free. Free to speak, free to try, free to grow. And that freedom, that's where fluency lives. Now let's talk about strength. The phrase is, I'll figure it out. It means, I don't know yet, but I will find a way. And this is something native speakers say often. Because life is uncertain, not everything has a clear answer. So instead of explaining everything, they say, I'll figure it out. It's calm, it's confident, it's powerful. Now imagine saying, I currently do not possess the solution, but I will attempt to discover it. It's correct, but heavy. I'll figure it out feels lighter, stronger, and when you use it, you don't just sound fluent, you sound independent. Now we enter a deeper level of slang, subtle expression. Low-key means something is a little true, but you're not saying it strongly. I low-key like that song. I low-key want to go. It's soft, slight, hidden. High-key is the opposite. Strong, clear, obvious. I high-key love this. I high-key need a break. These phrases are powerful because they control intensity. They let you express feelings without being too direct. And that's something native speakers do all the time. They adjust emotion. They shape meaning. And now, so can you. Let's talk about connection in the modern world. The phrase is, hit me up. It doesn't mean hitting someone. It means contact me, message me, call me, hit me up later. Hit me up when you're free. It's casual, friendly, easy. And this is how people actually communicate. Not with formal requests, but with simple invitations. When you use phrases like this, you step into everyday English. The kind that lives in messages, calls, friendships. The kind that feels real. Sometimes you don't like something, but you don't want to sound rude. So instead of saying, I strongly dislike this, you say, I'm not feeling it. It's soft, it's honest, it's respectful. It means, I don't enjoy this. I'm not interested. This is emotional intelligence in language. And slang often carries that. It helps you say difficult things in a gentle way. And when you speak like this, people feel comfortable around you. Because your words don't just communicate, they care. Now let's talk about accountability. The phrase is, that's on me. It means, it's my responsibility. It's my fault. But it feels stronger, more direct, more confident. When you say, that's on me, you're not hiding. You're owning it. And that builds respect. Because in real conversations, people don't admire perfect speakers. They admire honest ones. And this phrase shows honesty. Without excuses, without fear. You've reached a turning point. Not the end, but a transformation. You're no longer just learning words. You're understanding patterns, speed, emotion, tone, context. You hear gonna and you understand it. You hear no way and you feel it. You say, I messed up without fear. This is the shift, where English stops being something outside of you and starts becoming part of you. And here's the truth. From this point on, everything gets deeper, more natural, more instinctive, more you. Look at what you've done. You didn't just memorize slang. You stepped into real English, the kind that lives in conversations, in laughter, in everyday life. And now, you're not just understanding it. You're becoming it. So keep going, because fluency is not far away. It's already starting to happen, inside you. There's a moment in every conversation when something surprises you just enough to make you lean in. Not shocked, not confused, just curious. That's where this phrase lives. For real? It means, are you serious? Is that true? But it feels lighter, more natural, more alive. Someone says, I finished the whole project in one day. You respond, for real? Notice the tone. It's not aggressive, it's not formal. It's human curiosity in motion. And here's something subtle. When you use phrases like this, you don't stop the conversation. You invite more of it, because people feel your interest, and interest builds connection. Now we step into something more expressive. The word is whatever. This one carries attitude. It can mean, I don't care. Do what you want. It doesn't matter. But the feeling changes with tone. Say it softly, whatever. It sounds relaxed. Say it sharply, whatever. It sounds annoyed. This is where slang becomes powerful. It's not just about meaning, it's about emotion. Native speakers don't always explain how they feel. They let tone do the work. And when you understand that, your English becomes more than correct. It becomes expressive. Sometimes you want to say something honest, but you don't want to sound harsh. So you add a phrase, I'm just saying. It doesn't change the meaning much, but it changes the feeling. I think you should try harder. I'm just saying. Now it sounds softer, less direct. It creates space. This is something native speakers do naturally. They adjust their language to protect the conversation. Because communication isn't just about truth. It's about how truth is delivered. And when you learn phrases like this, you gain control. Control over tone. Control over impact. That's advanced English. Here's a phrase you'll hear everywhere. That's crazy. But here's the twist. Doesn't always mean something is actually crazy. It can mean, that's amazing. That's shocking. That's unbelievable. Someone says, I traveled to 5 countries in 1 month. You respond, that's crazy. And it works. Because slang often stretches meaning. Words become flexible. They adapt to emotion. And when you understand this, you stop translating word by word and start understanding feeling by feeling. Now we reach something powerful. Connection. The phrase is, I feel you. It doesn't mean physical touch. It means, I understand you. I relate to what you're saying. Someone shares a struggle. Instead of saying, I understand your situation, you say, I feel you. And suddenly, it feels closer, more personal, more real. Because you're not just hearing them, you're connecting with them. This is where slang becomes emotional intelligence, where language becomes empathy. And that's something every great speaker has. Sometimes things don't go your way, and there's nothing you can do. In those moments, native speakers often say, it is what it is. It means, I accept it. I can't change it. There's no anger, no long explanation, just calm acceptance. And that's powerful, because not every situation needs words. Sometimes simple language carries deep meaning. And when you use phrases like this, you don't just sound fluent, you sound grounded. Here's something small, but important. You know, native speakers add this at the end of sentences. I was just tired, you know. It felt strange, you know. It doesn't change the meaning much, but it invites connection. It asks the listener to agree, to understand, to stay engaged. This is conversation flow. Not just speaking, but keeping the other person with you. And when you learn this, your English becomes smoother, more natural, more alive. Mistakes happen, but native speakers don't always apologize formally. They say, my bad. It means, my mistake. I'm sorry. But it's quick, casual, Confident. You bump into someone slightly. My bad. You forget something small. My bad. It shows responsibility without making the moment heavy. And that balance, that's what makes communication smooth. Sometimes you want to invite someone, but you don't want them to feel forced. So you say, no pressure. Come if you want, no pressure. Think about it, no pressure. It means you're free to choose. And that creates comfort, because people don't like feeling pushed. And when your language feels open, people feel safe around you. This is the hidden power of slang. It shapes emotions, not just meaning. Pause again. Listen to yourself. Not your thoughts, your language. You now understand phrases like, for real? I feel you. My bad. It is what it is. These are not textbook sentences. These are real-life expressions. And when you use them, something changes. People don't just understand you, they relate to you. Because your English now carries emotion, tone, personality. You're no longer outside the language. You're inside it. And from here, everything becomes even more natural. This is not just learning. This is transformation. From careful words to confident expression. From thinking too much to feeling the language. And step by step, you're becoming someone who doesn't just speak English, you live it. So keep going. Because what you're building now is real. Now we step into something tricky and powerful. The phrase is, yeah, right. At first, it sounds like agreement. But in real conversations, it often means the opposite. It means, I don't believe you. That's not true. Imagine someone says, I can run 100 miles without stopping. You respond, yeah, right. You're not agreeing. You're expressing doubt, almost with a little humor. This is sarcasm, and sarcasm is a big part of natural English. But here's the key. Tone changes everything. Say it flat, it sounds serious. Say it with a slight smile, it sounds playful. This is advanced fluency, not just words, but hidden meaning. Here's another reaction phrase. You're kidding. It means, you must be joking. I can't believe this. But it feels lighter than, that's impossible. Someone says, I lost my phone again. You say, you're kidding. It shows surprise, but also connection. You're reacting naturally. And reactions are the heartbeat of real conversations. Without them, language feels flat. With them, it feels alive. Now let's look at a single word. Seriously. This word is powerful because it can mean many things. Surprise. Seriously? That's amazing. Annoyance. Seriously? Again? Disbelief. Seriously? That happened. Same word. Different emotion. This is where English becomes expressive, where your voice, your tone, your face all work together. And when you master this, you don't need long sentences. One word can carry everything. Sometimes something is so surprising, so funny, so frustrating, that you don't even finish your sentence. You just say, I can't even. And stop. It means, I don't know how to react. This is too much. It's incomplete. But that's what makes it real. Because real conversations are not perfect. They're emotional, spontaneous, human. And when you use phrases like this, you sound natural. Because you're not trying to be perfect. You're being real. Now let's talk about another modern reaction. That's wild. It means that's crazy. That's unbelievable. But it feels fresh, current, alive. Someone shares a shocking story. You say, that's wild. And that's enough. Because slang often removes the need for long explanations. It captures emotion instantly. And that speed, that simplicity is what makes native speech feel effortless. Now we move into humor. Sometimes, native speakers joke in a way that can confuse learners. They tease, they exaggerate, they play, and then they say, "I'm just messing with you." It means, "I'm joking. I'm not serious." This phrase protects the conversation. It makes sure the other person understands the humor, because humor without clarity can create distance. But humor with understanding creates connection. And when you can both joke and explain it naturally, you step into a higher level of fluency. This phrase is simple. Good for you. But here's the twist. It can be positive or sarcastic. Sincere tone. That's great. I'm happy for you. Sarcastic tone. I don't really care. Same words, different meaning. This is where many learners struggle. Because understanding English is not just about vocabulary. It's about reading the moment. And when you learn that, you unlock deeper communication. This phrase is short. I'm done. But it carries weight. It means, I've had enough. I'm finished with this. It can be calm or emotional. After a long day, I'm done. After frustration, I'm done. It expresses limits, and that's important. Because real language includes boundaries, not just ideas, but feelings. Now we slow things down. Let it go. It means stop holding on. Move on. It's advice, calm, grounded, and native speakers use it often when emotions get heavy. Because not every problem needs a solution. Sometimes it needs release. And when you use phrases like this, your English becomes thoughtful, not just reactive, but balanced. Take a deep moment here. You've come far. From cool and hang out, to sarcasm, tone, emotional nuance. You now understand things that cannot be translated directly. You hear, "Yeah, right," and you know it's not agreement. You hear, "I can't even," and you feel the emotion behind it. This is the final shift, where English stops being something you learn and becomes something you sense. You don't analyze every word, you feel the meaning, and that is fluency. There was a time when English felt like a subject. Rules, grammar, pressure. But look at you now. You understand real conversations. You feel tone. You use slang. You connect. This is not just progress. This is transformation. And here's the truth. You don't need permission to sound like a native. You don't need perfect grammar to be understood. You just need courage to speak, to try, to make mistakes, to keep going. Because fluency is not a destination. It's a journey you're already on. So the next time you speak, don't hold back. Say what you feel. Use what you've learned. And remember this, you got this. Now go out there and sound like yourself in English. Now we step into a word that feels small but carries strong energy. Bet. At first it sounds like gambling, but in slang, bet means, okay, agreed, let's do it. Someone says, meet me at 6. You reply, bet. And just like that, the plan is set. No long sentence, no explanation, just confidence. This is what advanced slang does. It removes extra words and leaves behind pure intention. And when you use it, you sound decisive, clear, natural, present. This phrase is powerful. Say less. It doesn't mean talk less. It means, I understand. You don't need to explain more. Someone says, I need your help. You reply, say less. It shows readiness. It shows connection. It tells the other person, I'm already with you. And that's something deep. Because communication is not just about speaking. It's about understanding quickly and responding with clarity. And when you can do that, you sound like a native. Now we move into something even deeper. I got you. It means I'll help you. I'll support you. You can rely on me. Someone says, "Can you cover for me?" You respond, "I got you." It's not just agreement. It's trust. It's reliability. And this is where language becomes relationship. Because words like these don't just communicate actions. They build confidence between people. And when you use them, you don't just speak English. You create connection. Life is not always easy. And when someone shares something difficult, native speakers often say, "That's tough." It means, "That's hard." I understand it's difficult. It's simple, but it carries weight because it acknowledges struggle without over-explaining it. And that's something important. Not every situation needs big words. Sometimes small words carry the deepest meaning. This is where everything comes together. Not just the slang, not just the phrases, but the feeling behind them. Think about your journey. At the beginning, you were translating, thinking, pausing, doubting. Now, you understand what's up without thinking. You say, "I'm down," naturally. You feel, "I can't even," without needing explanation. This is not memorization. This is transformation. You've moved from learning English to living in it. And here's the most important truth. You don't need to sound like anyone else. Not like a movie star. Not like a perfect speaker. Just like you. Because fluency is not about copying. It's about expressing. And now, you can express. There's something no one tells you at the beginning. Learning English is not just about language. It's about opportunity. Conversations you couldn't have before, you can have now. People you couldn't connect with, you can connect with now. Ideas you couldn't express, you can express now. And it all started with small steps. A word, a phrase, a moment of courage. Now look how far that brought you. This is bigger than English. This is growth. Let's make something clear. Sounding like a native doesn't mean losing who you are. Your accent, your background, your story, they matter. Slang doesn't erase your identity. It strengthens your ability to share it. Because the goal is not to become someone else. The goal is to be fully yourself in another language. And that's powerful. Fluency doesn't stop here. It grows with life. With every conversation, every movie, every moment you listen. Pay attention to how people speak, how they react, how they express emotion. Because language is always moving, always evolving. And now, you're part of that movement. Here's the truth that changes everything. You will never feel 100% ready. And that's okay, because confidence doesn't come first. Action does. You speak, you try, you make mistakes. And then confidence grows. So don't wait for perfect. Start with real. This is not where your journey ends. This is where it truly begins. Because now, you're not just learning English. You're using it, living it, owning it. Every phrase you've learned, every feeling you've understood, they are now part of you. And from here, you keep growing. You started this journey wanting to sound like a native speaker. But what you found was something deeper. You found your voice, a voice that can connect, a voice that can express, a voice that belongs. So now, don't go back to silence. Don't go back to fear. Go forward. Speak. Try. Live the language. Because English is not just something you learn. It's something you become part of. And now, you are ready.